Merkle is a leading data-driven experience management company with over 32 years of B2B and B2C marketing experience. There's a reason Fortune 1000 companies and nonprofit organizations look to us. We help businesses maximize the value of their customer portfolios. Our retail and performance media solutions help retailers turn the data they already have into insight and strategy so that retailers can gain a single view of their customer and deliver the right experience at the right time. Ready to get started? Contact us today at www.merkleinc.com.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan of Total Retail, and joining me today is Sean Kell, the CEO of Blue Nile. Sean and I are going to be discussing Blue Nile's recent announcement of a showroom expansion plan and a little bit about its business. So thank you for joining me today, Sean.
Thank you, Joe. It's great to be here.
So to get us started, why don't you briefly give us a little background about Blue Nile for those that might not be familiar with the company?
Sure, thanks. So Blue Nile is the world's largest diamond engagement ring and jewelry online business. We started about 21 years ago in Seattle, and we like to think we're the best online spot to buy diamond engagement rings and fine jewelry. We've also got 5 showrooms across the US and a pretty big business in Europe and Asia.
So let's talk about you a little bit personally. You recently joined the company about a little over a year ago at this point as CEO. Tell us a little bit about your career and what led you to Blue Nile.
Great. So, yep, that's right. I've been at Blue Nile just over a year. It's been a crazy year. 2020 has been one heck of a wild ride, and like most people, I think I'm ready for it to be over, I have to admit. But that said, it's been a great year and a half or so at Blue Nile. The reason I joined the company is really twofold. The first is I love the product. I love jewelry. I've been an admirer of jewelry and a purchaser of jewelry. I've been married for about 23 years, and my wife loves jewelry. And so when I got the opportunity to learn more about Blue Nile, I jumped at the chance. It's a Seattle company. I've been in Seattle for a long time, and so I've known about the company and I've known a bunch of the people at Blue Nile. So I've admired the company kind of from afar as well. The second reason was, as I learned more about the company a couple of years ago, I thought I could help. I thought I could have impact and make a difference. So I was really thrilled to be able to join the firm and help build this company and help reinvigorate the brand and introduce Blue Nile to more and more consumers all over the globe. So that's why I joined Blue Nile. In terms of my personal background, I've been an online marketing person for about 20 years. I started out my career as a salesperson and marketer in Silicon Valley, and I've been doing internet marketing and direct to consumer marketing ever since then. I spent a bunch of years at McKinsey & Company, and then at Starbucks, and then at Expedia, and then a couple other companies before landing here at Blue Nile. So I'm an internet marketing guy, but also a diehard product and retail, what they call B2C or business to consumer business person.
So thanks for that background, Sean. And you alluded to the fact that 2020 has been, taking the reins of the company in 2020. It's been quite a year, and you are not alone in the fact that I think a lot of people will be happy when the calendar ticks over to 2021, which leads into my next question and why I think it's so interesting that, Blue Nile recently announced this aggressive retail expansion plan. And considering the current retail climate, with so many companies downsizing their physical store footprint, that's been obviously in the news, why is this now the right time for Blue Nile to kind of push further into physical retail?
Sure, Joe, it's a great question. And it may seem counterintuitive, but for us, the retail expansion has been one of those core strategic initiatives we've been contemplating for a while. The company opened 5 showrooms, we call them showrooms, several years ago, and has been watching the performance and steadily seeing our business there grow as consumers come into our stores and experience our brand and see our great assortment of jewelry and diamonds and great prices. So we knew the retail or showroom model was a winner for us. The question just became, when do we do it and how do we do it? We kicked off the retail expansion strategy last year before the pandemic. And as things kind of played out with the COVID earlier this year, we sat back and thought hard about how and if and when we should continue or possibly delay our retail expansion. We did slow down a little bit from our original plans, but as we went out to market and were speaking with landlords and spoke with consumers, we got conviction that there is a future for Blue Nile showrooms across the US, and that that consumers really want to see, feel, and touch diamonds and jewelry in order to have access to our great assortment and our great prices. So we did slow down a little bit our original plans for 2020, but decided to keep along the path we decided and have opened now 3 stores this year in the US, one in Denver, one in Chicago, and one in Newport Beach, California. So we're delighted with their performance and are looking forward to opening hopefully somewhere between 5 and 10 more stores next year.
That leads me into kind of a follow-up, Sean, in terms of geographic location of your showrooms. Are there specific markets that you're targeting? I mean, obviously there are specific markets. Maybe a better question is, what are the factors that are going into the decision-making into where your stores are located? And are you trying to kind of cover more of a national footprint? You mentioned Denver, California, and excuse me, I'm forgetting the third one right off the top of my head, but
Chicago,
more Chicago, so Midwest.
Yep.
East Coast, are we looking more Southeast, or is future expansion plans, or your specific parts of the or regions of the country that are more in your line of focus right now?
Sure, it's a national strategy. So we've got a 5-year plan, and we are targeting the top 50 markets across the US over the next 5 years, maybe a little faster, maybe a little slower, depending on expected or unexpected crazy things in the world. But we're really looking at the top population markets, top diamond and jewelry buying markets across the US. So it's all the big cities you'd think of. Some cities will have, I think, more than one location, Los Angeles and New York, for example, and others like Seattle, we may end up with just one store. So looking at the top retail markets for us across the country, focused on US for now. We do think that over time we will expand beyond the US into Europe and Asia, but for now we're focused on the US and looking at a national rollout because our business is national. We've got, as I mentioned, we've been in business for a little over 21 years, and we've got a pretty good handle on where our consumers are, and we're focusing on those top markets, as well as a couple others that are not as big for us, where we think that a retail location might be a great way to introduce consumers to our brand.
Yeah, so that you mentioned that kind of your online marketing background as a former marketer, and then the kind of letting data dictate some of the decision making. I guess that looking at some of your website traffic and some of the has that kind of informed some of the markets too as well?
For sure. And it has helped us to decide 2 things. So, well, first of all, I'll step back and say we love data. I think that's one of it's part of what I bring to the table, and my management philosophy is a reliance and a thirst for data and metrics. And it's one of the benefits of being an online business is that we have tons of data and 21 years of data on our not only visits to our website, but also buying behavior and repeat purchase behavior across, frankly, millions of consumers. And so certainly we've used our data to pick the top markets for us across the country. The way we've thought about it is that there are probably more like 100 markets where we'd like to be. And we then prioritize those based on partly actual historical Blue Nile sales data, as well as industry predictions on sales and population growth. So those three together, plus a little bit of kind of strategic thinking, and then really the actual order of the store openings depends on particular locations in particular malls or particular high street locations. And so, for example, we may really want a store in a particular part of Manhattan in New York City, but that location may not be available right now. And so there is a location available at Fashion Island right now in Newport Beach, and we've just opened that store there. So we're taking a data-based approach, but then a pragmatic overlay to that in terms of our opening. And we're going to test a few locations that may not be obvious from our actual sales performance. So trying to have a little fun with it, but being data obsessed, as is our culture at Blue Nile.
Yeah, seems like you have a formula worked out there. I want to get back to the fact that you mentioned, the roots of Blue Nile. It's a digital brand to start.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of, to your point, you're bringing these physical showrooms into play as well. And I want to talk to you about what you're doing as a company to try to integrate those two channels. And obviously the end consumer is, who you're trying to give the best experience to. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing to try to marry those two channels between online and offline.
Great. Yeah, that's exactly the core of the strategy, Joe. So right on. It's really about meeting consumers where they want to shop. You've seen over time, over the last 10 years or so, many consumer product categories shift from bricks and mortar to online. Some have completely shifted, and some are slower to shift. And jewelry and diamond engagement rings in particular have been slower to shift from bricks and mortar to online. I believe, and we believe as a company at Blue Nile, that shift will happen. It is definitely happening, and the pandemic appears to have accelerated that shift as more and more people are continue to want to buy diamonds and jewelry, but have a harder time finding them at retail stores, or have decided not to go to retail stores as often. They're still going to retail stores, but just not as often as they did a year ago. And so as folks are seeking out ways to buy diamonds and fine jewelry, they are finding us online like they find other products. So our strategy is to be there where they want to be. And we want to bring to consumers the best of the online world to meet their expectations in an offline world. So let me tell you what I mean by that. We think the best of the online world is really twofold. Number one, it's an incredible assortment, an unending assortment of products and SKUs and choices, in our case for diamond engagement rings and fine jewelry. And add to that an internet-based pricing model where we essentially cut out the middleman, so to speak, and we bring great assortment at incredible quality with unbeatable prices. And so consumers love that. But there are many of them who want to actually see the product, in this case, a piece of fine jewelry or a diamond engagement ring, and they want to make sure it fits, or they want to speak with a jewelry expert about the particular choice between two colors or grades or sizes of a diamond, for example. And so our whole strategy here is to bring the best of the web, incredible assortment, 24/7 availability, great prices, with expertise that comes from talking with an expert in diamonds and jewelry, whether it be in a store or through our call center or our chat or email channels.
So I want to dig into that last piece around the consultation. Obviously, engagement diamond rings, fine jewelry, these are high ticket items, and it's a consultative purchase for the consumer. This isn't something they're buying on a whim. So tell us a little bit about that. Obviously, you noted that the diamond market has been a little bit slower to shift online than some other categories. And, my thought process there is that, it's because of that consultation that you're getting in store when they go and speak with a store associate at a showroom, that expert, they're getting that advice, they're getting you look and see it and feel the diamond. And tell us a little bit about some of the ways that you can try to bring that experience, that consultative approach that you're offering in your showrooms online as you forecast that more of this business and more of this market's going to be moving in that direction.
Great. So that's right. I think the trick for us is that multi-channel touch point for consumers. We are available to consumers anywhere they want us. There's a segment of the population that doesn't want to talk to anybody on the phone and doesn't want to go into a store, and we're there for them online with incredible assortment, incredible prices, a great website with pictures and 360-degree visualization of diamonds, and all kinds of tools to find the perfect diamond and then setting for an engagement and a wedding, are also an incredible piece of jewelry for one of life's special moments. So for people who want to go online, we've got incredible tools and incredible assortment and product line there. If you want to talk to someone, you can give us a call anytime, day or night, toll free, of course, or email us, or chat with us, or we chat with us. There are any number of ways to connect with us, and you'll get a no pressure salaried expert who is going to talk you through your choice, and someone who loves jewelry and will share that passion and emotion with you to help make sure that you pick the best piece of jewelry for your occasion. And then similarly on the stores, we take that one level further. Now you can actually see, feel, and touch the items. And so if, there's an awful lot of people, I think back to 24 years ago when I was contemplating a diamond engagement ring purchase. It was before Blue Nile, unfortunately, so I had to go to a retail store, and I didn't even know where to start. I didn't know what questions to ask, and I was a little embarrassed, and I didn't want to look or sound stupid, and it was incredibly nerve-wracking. And so we're trying to make that process, especially for folks, and usually this is their first diamond engagement ring purchase, and so we're trying to make that as easy and simple and transparent and no pressure as we possibly can. And no one has to buy when they come into the store. You can come in and buy, come in and speak with us, and then go home and then go to the web later and look around some more, and then call us in the call center, or then come back into the store any way you want. And we're happy to work with you in whatever touch point, as we call it, works best for the consumer.
Yeah, I think that's a great point in terms of making that experience less intimidating to a lot of people. This is
Right.
their first purchase of an engagement ring. And again, this is a high ticket, highly sentimental purchase. They want to make sure they're getting it right. So, you want to create that connection, whether they're coming in the store, you're not necessarily, expecting them. I don't know what the percentage is, but they're going in and purchasing on the first trip in the store. I would imagine it's rather low, but then they have that resource, that your website, they can do the research, they can or vice versa. They might do the research online first. Then when they feel they're confident enough, they go in store and talk to somebody. Is that kind of the behavior you've seen in your customers?
That's it, Joe. So on average, here's a fun fact for you. I had no idea that this was true when I joined the company. On average, consumers visit us on the web or a phone call or a retail store, or several of the above 20 times before they purchase a diamond engagement ring.
Yeah.
So this is an incredibly considered purchase, and they're probably, frankly, though I hate to admit this, they're probably going to other websites as well. So this is an incredibly considered purchase, and people are thirsting for information, want to understand, and as we said, they want to make the right purchase. It's a lot of money, and it's for their loved one, and one of the biggest, maybe the biggest occasion of their life, and so they want to get it right. And that's really our goal, is to bring them incredible prices so that we take that whole "am I overpaying" question completely off the table, and we just focus on what's the best diamond and setting, and then wedding bands for or piece of fine jewelry for your occasion.
Yeah. So I want to get back into a little bit about kind of the store expansion. And you've obviously done your homework in terms of targeting markets and where you're going to kind of prop these stores up and go forward. The second part of that is, okay, once we're in operation in a certain market for a certain amount of time, kind of evaluating performance and, making, okay, maybe we want a second store in Chicago, maybe we want a second store
Right.
in, Denver, and kind of evaluating that, or maybe we want to pull back, maybe we don't need 2, 3 stores in a certain market. Tell us a little bit about kind of how, and this again goes back to our conversation around data. What are some of the metrics, the data that you're planning on using on evaluating store performance on, on an individual basis in some cases, or in some cases where you have more than one in a certain market on an entire market basis?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So as I mentioned before, we are obsessed with data and metrics. We manage this business by the numbers, and we love being a web-based, digital-based company, so that we have, as like I said, 21 years of data and just an enormous amount of new data coming in every day. And we track certainly all of the consumer visits on the web and in our call center, and then ultimately we're tracking visits in our stores as well. We have CRM systems so that our store jewelry, diamond and jewelry experts can keep track of the visits and any number of ways to track the data and the performance of each channel, each store at every moment of every day. So we use a combination of traditional retail metrics for our stores, sales per square foot, and conversion rates and average selling price and things like that. But we also add in a number of digital-based metrics like customer acquisition cost, which we call CAC, and lifetime value. It is incredibly important to our business to create and engender a trust-based long-term relationship with our customers. So someone who comes in and purchases a diamond engagement ring from us, we want them to be so delighted with the product and the service and their experience that they come back to us and purchase their wedding bands. And then a year or two later, as they're thinking about an anniversary gift or a Valentine's Day gift or a birthday gift, or a Mother's Day gift or at the Christmas holidays, they think about us for a fine jewelry gift. And we keep track of all those purchases and all those interactions to try to make sure we're offering the very best offer and selection to every consumer. So it's really a combination of those traditional bricks and mortar KPI metrics, which are tried and true, and then adding on top of that digital based metrics that allow us to overlay and then really slice and dice what's happening in each individual market, to then back to your question about where in that market should we have a store. And in Chicago, for example, we're opening in Oak Brook Mall, which is just outside of Chicago. But where then should we have, and we think we should, where should we have another store in Chicago? And should it be on Michigan Avenue? Should it be in Lincoln Park, right? Or both? And how do we think about that? And it's really that slicing and dicing of the overlay of the data of our sales that helps us then kind of try to decide where then to go next.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on it, and I thought this is kind of what I was getting at a little bit with the question in terms of those digital metrics too. To your point, I think you stated that was 20 touch points before the customer actually makes a
right.
So they could be coming into the store, walking into the store a few times, stop in after work, look at something, and then they could do that a couple times and eventually end up buying the diamond online. Is that store getting that credit for that sale? And so that you've kind of baked that into the store performance evaluation?
That's right. So in that case, the store does get credit. So it's a great question. And we do that for two reasons. The first is we want to accurately value the performance of a store and our salespeople in the stores. And also we want to understand where to spend our marketing dollars and how a consumer likes to interact with us. There's a big difference we've found in a consumer who comes into a store 3 or 4 or 5 times. That happens a lot, and then ultimately purchases, but never goes to the web, and a person who comes to the web 15 times and then goes into the store to make their final decision at the store. You can, for example, you can reserve a particular diamond or 2 or 3 and have them sent to the store. And you can actually look at those diamonds in the store to make your final decisions. And a lot of people do that. But there's very different behavior between those two example consumers. And we then market to them and stay in touch with them in a very different way. The the first person example isn't spending a lot of time on the web, so we're going to create a long-term relationship with them through other channels. It may be a phone call occasionally from someone at the store, or a piece of actual physical mail. Whereas the person who's mostly shopping on the web, we're going to connect with them through email, chat, Slack, etc., but probably not through a postcard or a piece of physical mail.
Yeah, to your point of being data obsessed, and you're not going to treat every customer the same, and not treat. You want to give obviously everyone the best experience, but some people might want to be interact and engage in different channels. So you're kind of trying to create that custom experience using the data that you have, which leads into my final question. And I know this is going to be a little bit kind of put your forward-looking glasses on a little bit, and I know we're smack dab in the middle of your busiest season of the year, I would imagine, the holidays, Q4, but just kind of looking ahead, 2021, what are some of the goals? What are your focus areas as CEO, and where you kind of see Blue Nile going as we move into a new year?
Well, so you're right. It is the busiest time of the year for us right now. The holiday makes up, a preponderance of our sales and customer interactions, and we're delighted to be having a great holiday so far. We certainly, back in March and April, I did not think that we'd be anywhere near this kind of sales performance right now. We feel very fortunate to be having a very good year so far, and doing that while keeping our employees safe and our customers safe in our showrooms as well. In terms of 2021, for us, it's really more of the same, and continue to do and execute on our strategy. So I think there's three big things we're focused on for 2021. The one is our retail showroom expansion and creating these seamless customer experiences across online to offline. We hope, as I mentioned, to open 5 to 10 more stores and ultimately have 50 showrooms or so in the next 3 to 5 years. And so that work is well underway, and we're having great discussions with our great landlord partners, and we're delighted with how that's proceeding so far. Number two is continuing to expand our assortment, our fine jewelry assortment, and our diamond and engagement ring setting assortment. It's really critical to have the right assortment at the right time, at the right prices for consumers. And so we're doing an awful lot of work on that assortment question. For example, we launched a Lightbox collection just a few weeks ago. It's Blue Nile's first lab-grown diamond offering ever. It's an exclusive offering and partnership with Lightbox, and it's a terrific extension for us with beautiful blues and pinks and white lab-grown stones that I really think is fun, and consumers are really loving it. And then third is continuing to create these personalized experiences across all of our channels. And one of the things we didn't really talk about, but it's really exciting for us, is that we've just launched is a true virtual appointment that it feels a lot like, to me at least, feels like a lot like a kind of home shopping network kind of an experience, where we've got not just over the phone with a customer, but a remote virtual appointment where one of our salespeople, diamond experts, is in a little studio with a couple of cameras and actual inventory and assortment and diamonds and jewelry, and they're interacting with a customer and going through a visit with the consumer, asking questions and looking at jewelry, and the salesperson showing things and modeling things with multiple camera angles. It's really a game changer in terms of a true virtual appointment. We're really excited about that, and consumers so far have loved it. Yeah, so that's what we're focused on for 2021.
Yeah, that last piece is, again, to the kind of the consultative approach that you're trying to bring online as consumers, giving options to shoppers is what you're trying to accomplish there.
That's right.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Sean, for your time. This has really been an interesting conversation. You've got some exciting things happening at Blue Nile, and I want to thank you for your time today.
Well, and you're very welcome, and thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcast for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.
Is your retail business gathering data but struggling with where to start in the customer identity process? Our team of experts at Merkle can help you transform that data into insight and strategy. Ready to get started? Contact us at www.merkleinc.com.